the public hearing for developer rights and responsibilities agreement. That was ordinance 11-20-24. Do we have any comments from the council or public? Seeing and hearing none, do I hear a motion to close the hearing?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All approved. Anyone against? The meeting, public hearing is closed. All right. And I will open up the Town of New Windsor work session for December 16, 2024. Approval of minutes from the November 20, 2024 work session meeting. Do I hear a motion for approval or amendments?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes from the November 2024 work session meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. And since we had no comments, do I hear a motion to approve ordinance, adopt ordinance 11-20-24?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 11-20-24, developer rights and responsibilities agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against, so carried. Generator for Hillside Wells, Mr. Myers.
Okay, so at the last council meeting, I wasn't able to attend. So Councilman Hall read my report, and on my report, I explained that, or let everyone know that we were interested in purchasing a used generator. It's a propane Kohler generator for Hillside, which is currently without protection in the event of a power outage. The cost is $17,850. The price includes all the associated permitting, electrical work, and a manual transfer switch. The propane and propane hookup would be provided by Southern States and should not exceed $5,000. We're still waiting on a cost estimate on that, but it's very similar to what we've installed out at Bowersox Road. The Hillside well provides approximately 50% of the total water supply for the town, making it a critical component of the water system. We want to ensure that it can operate during extended power outages and maintain water supply reliability for the residents and businesses. Currently, there's no backup power source there, leaving it vulnerable during power failure. So we're looking to purchase this through Rodkey Electric. It was actually the generator for Tawnytown Fire Department is where it came from. And it's in good shape, and Rodkey Electric, like I say, would put in the transfer switch to all the electrical, the permitting, and the concrete pad. So a new generator would be of similar cost to Blue Ridge Pump Station. You may recall we purchased that, just the generator itself from Kelly Generator. It was $50,000 just for the generator. No site work or pad or anything like that. So that's all included in this purchase. The downfall of this particular unit, there's two downfalls. The first one is that it's used, and the second one is it will require manual transfer for the power, but that's significantly better than what we have now because we're without protection. There is an automated transfer switch that we could purchase to pair with the unit, but that switch alone is around $10,000. So in the event that there's a power outage, we could put a temporary connection point on the exterior of the building. If the power outage lasts around a week, it would be about $5,000 a week to rent a generator just for that week. So that's why I'm recommending purchasing this particular used unit and being able to go over there and just flip the switch and have power, so.
Do you know the age of the unit?
So it's about 15 years old.
How
And
many hours? 1,050?
yeah, 1,050
That's not
hours.
much.
So it's very similar to the units that we have. We have generators that are 25 years old plus in use in the town. I think our oldest generator has around 1,100 hours on it, and so they're on a cycled approach where they turn on and off and cycle, and that's where the majority of the hours come from as far as the town goes. Fortunately, this year, we've had limited power interruptions, so we've been very fortunate. And it was similar last year, but as you can recall, we've invested a significant amount of money into Hillside, and it's now 50% of the supply. There's more of a demand with Snyder Summit, and I think this would be a responsible thing to do. So I'm seeking approval to purchase a generator from Broadkey for $17,850.
Any questions, comments from the council?
So Wayne, what would the process be to flip that manual switch in the event of a power outage and, things like the time frame, who would do it? Obviously as a public works guy, you're the closest, but you may not always be in town. Having additional people, have you thought about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so we have an on-call system through the SCADA system. MES is actually on the on-call system as well. And typically during power outages, they're here anyway, checking on the stations. So they could flip it, we could flip it. It's just a manual switch, it flips over. The SCADA system has a provision that says that we have power to the station or we don't have power to the station. And there's different points of tracing that to see kind of, what we should do. It's nice having an automatic transfer switch, but this generator would be something we would have to budget for. We'd probably be upwards of $75,000 or $80,000 for that site if we bought a new generator with a transfer switch. And realistically, because it's a budget item and we have so many things going on, we would have to prepare for that. It might take as long as 5 years to.
Wayne, how long of a power outage? Let me try. How long of a power outage would it be before it was necessary for us to get that switch flipped so it doesn't impact the water system?
So on average, we pump around 90,000 gallons per day. The demands change depending on what time of year it is and if folks are watering and washing their vehicles and things like that. I would say anything over 3 to 4 hours, it would be wise to have a backup system in place, just because when we pull water from the towers, when there's no available water from Hillside, and we're strictly pumping from Mainspring, we're then using the deficits coming from the towers. And as the towers are being pulled down, they have to be replenished. And we have to do that based on the water appropriation, which is a timed approach. And so historically, when we have a water main break or when we're filling the lines because of MD31, it takes anywhere from 5 to 6 hours to try to replenish back 20 or 30,000 gallons outside of the 90,000 gallons that we typically use, because we wouldn't want to go over appropriations and their drought factors and sustainability factors and things that come into play. So
Takes longer for the tanks to recuperate if we
It
don't
does.
get them too
So,
quick.
but a 3 or 4 hour power outage is something that we would want to make sure that backup system was started. And I'm assuming, I'm sorry to monopolize, I'm assuming we would also have to turn it back off once
Correct.
the power. So I guess if we decide to go this route, I'm not sure that MES would be on site if it was a 3 or 4 hour, that they would be there that soon. I would suggest maybe if it was possible that, you know, we had some kind of backup plan in place that maybe even the council members, you know, are local to that could pop down and be trained to get in there and flip the switch so that we could do that. And, you know, if you were on vacation, we would not want you or, you know, and Alan and the crew live 45 or 50 minutes away. We, you know, it would make sense if we had that capability to do that as well.
Yeah.
Just something to think about. Thank you, Wayne.
Do you want to do the motion up to include 5,000 for the propane?
Yeah, that'd probably be wise.
So I think the motion should be for the generator and the work that Wayne described was the 17,850. But I would suggest that the motion be made for up to or not to exceed the 22,850, which would include the 5,000 for, or up to 5,000 for the LP tank work and stuff like that.
The 22,850.
Up to or not to exceed 22,850.
And we have that in capital.
This would take capital either over or right to the max in water.
We have.
So you can do capital, which is a line item, or you can take it, and that would take it to the max, or you could do the capital reserve, which is what we, at the end of fiscal year, we put money into in a separate account, which has a substantial amount of money, over almost 870,000, or you could pull it from the developer fund, which we're pooling for the property as well. So I would suggest not, because it's a really great interest rate in that account. It makes the money for us. So if you're gonna do it, I would say either capital budget or capital reserve.
If we max out the capital and then we have something else, we just,
If
Pull
just
from
you guys
that
make a
to-
motion, yeah. So I would say capital budget line first and then approach it as we go.
so does someone want to make a motion up to 22,850? And take it out of the, well, we don't have to really put that in the motion.
I'll make the motion to approve 22,850 for the generator and propane hookup.
Do we hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve up to 22,850 for the generator in the tank. All those, any comments or questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. All right.
The only thing that did you want to bring that up? There was the addition. Did you get
We had
the
a
email?
very late email sent at 6:15 this evening from the title company for the purchase of the property. While last week or last meeting, we passed a resolution to purchase the property, we need to pass a resolution for me to sign for the property. They're requesting it even though we've sent a letter from Michelle.
And that resolution will be 12-16-24 to allow our town clerk and treasurer to sign. Do I hear a motion to approve, to adopt resolution 12-16-24?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Second, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 12-16-24. Questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Anything else anybody have for the work session?
Just a quick, that was out the last meeting as well. As the Maryland 31 Water Main Improvement Project, so we're looking to spend all of the state money, grant money that we have. And we requested this has been mentioned in previous meetings, but we requested a change order from Mid-Atlantic to replace the 6-inch water main in Root Drive from Main to Church with an 8-inch main. And there are 4 water service connections on this section of the main, so a bypass will be needed. So this work would have to be done in the springtime, and estimated time is 3 to 4 weeks to complete that. The existing pipe is cast iron, it's deteriorated, and it has lead goosenecks and the laterals are a mix of the copper and galvanized in there, making it a good candidate for replacement. So Mid-Atlantic's contract they would suspend their contract to freeze the timeline or number of days in the contract, and then come back in the spring and get that work done. So Dan and I are reviewing and updating all the money that we've spent on the waterline project, which includes engineering, inspection, the inside meter removal, which we still have about 40 to do yet, utility marking, in addition to Mid-Atlantic's costs. So we're putting that all together. We're hoping that we have enough money from the grant to pay for roof drive replacement in whole or in part. So we'll keep you updated on that. The estimate from our last progress meeting was $115,000, but Justin with Mid-Atlantic thinks that's high. He feels it's high, but he's working on getting those specific numbers to us now. So just wanted to re-mention that. I know you've mentioned it in the past, and I think Will's mentioned it in his report. And then also, they are going to be doing an additional 8 sewer cleanouts. And that work can be done now. They're working on those now, I believe, right? And there's no traffic control or paving repair or anything like that. And these costs would be covered under the line item in the existing contract. So
Do you think there's money left over for roof drive?
It's going to be close.
So,
I hope so. I'm hoping in part or in whole anyway, because it'd be a good line to
So
do.
we can't prove that until we know.
Yeah, I mean, till we get a number. So we have some time because it's, we can't really do this work till spring, but he's going to get us. We'll know what the price is from the Atlantic
And
soon.
whether it goes through or not, just for transparency and disclosure, one of those 4 is my house.
We know. And then just the upcoming meetings, the January council meeting has been moved to Thursday, January 2nd. Both Wayne and myself will be off during that time, and I think Neil said you could handle the agenda there. And then the Tuesday, the January 21st work session is a Tuesday because of the Martin Luther King holiday. And then Wednesday, February 5th is work session. And then, I'm sorry, the council, thank you. And then the work session for February is also on a Tuesday due to the President's Day holiday. That's all I have.
All right. Anybody have anything else for the work session? Then do I hear a motion to move to closed session per general provisions, Article 3-305B1, HR consultant presentation and discussion of staff evaluation.
I'll make a motion to move to closed session.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor go to closed session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Thank you very much for attending.